Hey guys, welcome back. History 1301. We're on section 6, and this is part 2 of what will be a 3-part series. We ended up talking a little bit about Jefferson, and we talked about Monticello, the fact that you can look on the back of a nickel. If you do get a chance, go up there. It's up in Virginia. It's very close, within a day's drive of Mount Vernon. That's where Washington's home place also is. So let's talk a little bit about Jefferson. Now, guys, Jefferson, if you took this class 30 years ago, you took a time in, the guy probably would not mention Sally Hemings. And you may say, well, who is that? Sally Hemings, guys, and I think it's just fascinating. A lot of my students really enjoy the Sally Hemings story. It's right out of a Jerry Springer show almost. Sally Hemings is the slave of Thomas Jefferson. Bear with me. Sally Hemings was a gift. The Hemings family were a gift from Jefferson's father-in-law to Jefferson and his wife. Now, Sally Hemings' father, her biological father, was Jefferson's father-in-law. So she was half-sisters with Jefferson's wife. And Sally Hemings will give Jefferson several children. And it's really interesting. None of those children are brought into slavery. They're all free. Sally Hemings will actually stay with Jefferson. After Jefferson dies, all his slaves are sold, which is interesting. The founding fathers, Benjamin Franklin will release his slaves. Washington waits till he's dead to release his. But actually, Thomas Jefferson will not. His slaves will have to be sold to pay for all the debt he is in. Sally Hemings will actually go live with Jefferson's daughter, and she'll spend the rest of her life. But she was the mother of several of Jefferson's children. I told you, it's right out of a baby's mama thing. Anyway, I want to end this up with we talked about we haven't really talked about a lot of the battles. And I know I probably have some of y'all that are upset because you're talking about, okay, man, this guy's in the American Revolution. We're going to get into all the battles and all that. I've got it on the PowerPoint, guys. It's just too big to go through each one. I will tell you, as far as per battles, Washington lost a lot of them, but the one he will win and the one that will help him is Trenton. Now, what is Trenton? The Battle of Trenton, guys, will occur it's going to occur right there on Christmas Eve. It's going to occur December the 26th of 7:30 in the morning, matter of fact. Now, and I'll end our lecture with this because there's two different theories to Trenton, and it depends on what you read. Originally, the Battle of Trenton was the fact that the story that was originally out was all these Haitians. Now, first of all, a Haitian, and you'll see this on a test question. I like Haitians. I guess I put a lot of them on test questions. Haitians were German mercenaries. They were soldiers of fortune. They were brought in by the English to basically serve as soldiers. I personally think, it's just a Mr. Offer thing, if I had to face the British regulars versus the Haitians, I'd go with the British. I think the Haitians were trained killers. They were soldiers of fortune. They were men that were used to killing for money. And I think they were pretty deadly. But Trenton, you had Haitians. So I kind of say that to you. Washington had a tougher group of guys he was fighting. Now, story number one is that since it was day after Christmas, they had all been out there. They'd been celebrating Christmas. They were all drunk. And Washington's army came in the next day, and it had a bunch of guys that were hungover and drunk and really weren't prepared for a fight, and Washington took them really quick. The other story that is out there is that actually they weren't drunk, that they had been waiting. The Washington was, for a man that goes through history, cannot tell a lie, Washington was great at giving counterintelligence. More or less, Washington had spies all over the place. A lot of the women that worked in the brothels and all were actually spying. I mean, they were actually feeding information back to Washington. So Washington had this very advanced spy network. And in fact, there's a book out there right now that will tell you about Washington and the spy network that he had. That actually a lot of this stuff didn't even come to light until like in the 1930s. But anyway, Washington, that theory is that he had given a lot of counterintelligence that there was fixing to be an invasion, and he had done this for weeks on a time. Basically, these guys were worn out. They kept waiting for this battle. Probably the truth is somewhere in between the middle of this. I can't see Haitians sitting around a Christmas tree and opening gifts. And, I mean, maybe I'm wrong. I just can't see guys that are professional soldiers of fortune singing Christmas carols and jingle bells and all this kind of stuff. I also can't believe that totally they bought into this attack would be any minute. It was probably a combination. More or less what I'm saying is there probably was some celebration of that because they were Germans. And Germans as a whole do celebrate. They're very Christmas type people. So I could see if these were Haitians, German mercenaries, they might recognize the holiday. Not that they were out there, putting garland on the tree and everything, but they probably recognized it, and they recognized it maybe with consumption of alcohol. I could also see where they really weren't sure of when the attack, and they had probably waited a while. A lot of times in history, guys, you get two different theories, and I always tell people you got theory A, theory B, maybe the truth is right in the middle of those two theories. That's kind of interesting. We're going to come back. We're going to wrap this up. We're going to talk about the American Revolution. We're going to wrap it up. See you guys later.